and your station rocks.
What would I do without your smile now?
Ready, set. It's going down.
Right here at Yes Media Academy Radio. The rhythm goes on. We raise the roof all day, every day.
I love radio, music, and more.
Yes.
Very good afternoon to you, and thank you for being there. This is the Global News coming to you live from the studios of Yes Man Radio, the First Media Academy Radio. In the headlines, anger, despair as FCDA demolishes houses in Abuja community. Nigeria records 325 new cases of COVID-19, one more death recorded. PDP tackles Oyetola Aregbesola over FAC deduction. And going straight to Edo State, Edo 2020 concerns in Obasaki's camp over assembly defection. On the foreign scene, Robert Trump, president's younger brother, dies in hospital. And from the exciting world of sport, Manchester City out of Champions League. Different years, same stuff. Residents of a community in a suburb of Abuja were left angry and picking up the pieces on Saturday after the Federal Capital Development Authority demolished their houses. Officials of the FCDA stamped Apo Nepa in the early hours of the day, and the bulldozer they commandeered quickly went to work pulling down buildings that had been deemed illegal. By the time the bulldozers departed, and the exercise said to have been coordinated by the chairman of the FCT Task Force on City Sanitization, Ikaru Atta, ended, residents said more than 100 houses had been demolished. The exercise is said to have taken place months after the buildings were marked for demolition, according to officials who participated in the exercise. The community, whose residents are the original natives of the FCT, were reportedly on land meant for a road interchange, and the residents had been asked to leave. But the residents disagreed with the authorities and condemned the demolition, especially its timing, with several of them telling newsmen that some people were asleep when the crew arrived. They also said they were brutalized and tear-gassed. Spokesman for the FCT natives, Yunusa Yusu, insisted that the residents were not given adequate notice before the exercise was carried out. Nigeria on Saturday recorded 325 new cases of the novel coronavirus, bringing its total caseload since it began reporting in February to 48,770. This was revealed by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control (NCDC) in a tweet. The health agency also recorded one additional death as a result of the virus. Lagos, the nation's COVID-19 epicenter, reported 87 new cases, and the FCT had 49. Other states with new cases include Gombe 28, Ebonyi 20, Plateau 19, Kwara 18, Enugu 17, Imo 12, Rivers 12, Kaduna 11, Ogun 10, Edo 9, Oyo 9, Ondo 8, Osun 8, Ekiti 4, Borno 1, Kano 1, Bauchi 1, and Nasarawa 1. The Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amici, has appealed to the National Assembly to halt its questioning of Nigeria's loan agreement with China. Amici said questions from the National Assembly is likely to deter China from extending credit to the country, especially the $5.3 billion required for the Ibadan-Kano Railway. He made the remarks during an inspection tour of the Ibadan-Lagos standard gauge rail project, which has been primarily financed by Chinese banks. The House of Representatives had raised an alarm about the nature of loans received from China, which it said put the country's sovereignty into question in the case of a repayment default. However, Amici has insisted the loans, which are primarily spent on capital projects built by Chinese companies, will benefit the country. The Senate's Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions has said the information at its disposal is not sufficient to commence the probe of senators indicted in the alleged contract scam at the Niger Delta Development Commission. The ad hoc committee sets up to unravel the alleged financial recklessness by the Interim Management Committee of the NDDC had recommended an internal mechanism to investigate projects without executing them. The lawmakers indicted by the agency to have secured multi-billion naira projects. The most curious aspect of the financial quagmire is that almost all the projects attached to the procurement of these loans on behalf of the state and for which the state now refunds to the tune of 91% of its statutory earnings have not seen the light of day several years after the contract duration had expired. The Christian Association of Nigeria, Ekiti chapter, has appealed to the state government to allow the conduct of multiple services by churches as part of efforts to check the spread of coronavirus pandemic. Reverend Father Peter Oluwolafe, the state chairman of CAN, made the appeal in an interview with newsmen in Ado Ekiti. The deadline for worship centers to meet certain conditions before reopening for normal services expired on Friday, August the 14th. The immediate past Attorney General of the Federation, Mohammed Bello Adoke SAN, has applied to the Commercial Court of the Property and Business Courts of England and Wales for the redaction of the witness statement of his successor, Abubakar Malami SAN, from the court's record. He wants the court to delete from its record the statement made in respect of the Malibu oil block. Besides, he wants damages from Malami for some imputations against him on the Malibu oil deal. In addition, he claims he was not involved in the negotiation between the federal government and Process and Industrial Development, which led to a $9.6 billion judgment debt against Nigeria. According to him, witness statement of Malami absolved him of any involvement, and consequently record linking him with the matter should be deleted by the English court. Although it was not immediately clear if the order of the English court might have effect on Adoke's trial in Nigeria, the law allows domestication of a foreign court order or judgment. In an August 13, 2020 application before the court, the ex-AGF said Malami pronounced him guilty before the English court on a matter that was pending before the Federal Capital Territory High Court and the Federal High Court in Nigeria. As the governorship election in Edo State draws closer, anxiety continues to mount in the camp of State Governor Godwin Obaseki over some recent developments, which pundits have described as possible threats to his re-election bid. After years of political upheaval between him and his erstwhile political godfather, former Governor Adams Oshiomhole, Obaseki dumped the All Progressive Congress APC and pitched his tent with the People's Democratic Party PDP in pursuit of a fresh term of 4 years. Following the emergence of Pastor Sage Ezeyamo as the gubernatorial candidate of the APC, the return of Oshiomhole to Edo State after his stint as the national chairman of the APC, many allies and supporters of the governor have returned to Oshiomhole's fold and declared their readiness to work for the victory of Ezeyamo at the polls next month. This is just as numerous supporters of the APC candidate are also dumping the PDP to join him in his new party ahead of the governorship election. To add to the concerns of the governor's camp, 17 members of the Edo State House of Assembly have declared support for APC's Ezeyamo, leaving Obaseki and the PDP with only 7 lawmakers as the governorship election draws nearer. During the week, the lawmakers led by factional speaker Victor Edoro warned that if the governor flouts any of their directives, he will be impeached. 17 of the 27 local government areas in Borno State are still under attacks by the deadly Boko Haram sect, investigation has revealed. The affected local government area include Konduba, Bama, Kalabalaji, Ngala, Monguno, Mafa, Dikwa, Gwaza, Damboa, Mugumeri, and Kukawa. The rest are Moba, Abdam, and Mate, Guazamala, Kaga, and Ngazi. Most part of the 17 local government areas come under the deadly sect's constant attack, except the headquarters where many are relocated to. Farming, the main occupation of the residents, has become extremely difficult to practice beyond 1 kilometer of the local government headquarters. But the remaining 7 local government areas, mostly in southern Borno, enjoy relative peace brought about by the success of the anti-insurgency operations. Going straight to the foreign scene, President Donald Trump has paid tribute to his best friend and youngest brother following his death at 71. In a statement yesterday, President Trump stated that it is with a heavy heart he shares that his wonderful brother, Robert, peacefully has passed away. The president had visited his brother in hospital in New York the day before his death, telling reporters he is having a hard time. It is unclear what caused Robert Trump's death. A number of U.S. media reports suggested he had been seriously ill. President Trump's son, Eric, described his uncle as an incredible man, strong, kind, and loyal to the core. Robert was the youngest of Fred and Mary Ann Trump's 5 children and was born 2 years after his brother Donald Trump. The eldest of the children, Fred Jr., died in 1981. Going to the exciting world of sport, Manchester City midfielder Kevin De Bruyne says we need to learn after their 3rd consecutive Champions League quarter-final exit. Moussa Dembele scored 2 late goals as Lyon beat City 3-1 to set up a semi-final with Bayern Munich. It is a different year, same stuff. De Bruyne, who had equalized after Maxwell Cornet's opener, told sport writers. City, who finished 2nd in the Premier League, end the season with the EFL Cup as their only major trophy. City have lost to Monaco in the last 16 and then against Liverpool and Tottenham in the quarterfinals of the Champions League in Pep Guardiola's time in charge. The first half wasn't really good enough. In the second half, we played well and had them under pressure, De Bruyne said. We were more offensive. Lyon didn't really create, but we need to learn. And that'll be all on Global News for this hour. But before I go, let me bring you a recap of the stories I brought to you earlier. In the news, we told you that anger, despair as FCDA demolishes houses in Abuja community. Nigeria records 325 new cases of COVID-19, 1 more dead. PDP tackles Oyetola Aregbesola over fact deduction. And going straight to Edo 2020 concerns in Obasanjo's camp over assembly defection. The foreign scene, we brought you the news. Robert Trump, president's younger brother, dies in hospital. And from the exciting world of sport, Manchester City out of Champions League. Different year, same stuff. The news was produced and edited by Banke Bello Arilewo and delivered by Olatunde Ido. Many thanks for listening. The Yoruba version of Global News comes up immediately after this. Thank you and good afternoon.